The BS3 Network.
Back that beat the
Go DJ. That's my DJ.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in tonight to the forecast. It is the 3cast tonight. The great Mayhem Wilkes will not be on, but he may be tuning in. And go to his Facebook page. You probably don't like it if I say this, but go to his Facebook page to check out all of the food he's making on the weekend during the week. Chef Wilkes. But tonight we're coming at you with a new review, and this is the forecast. We review movies, documentaries, films, a completely different way, 4 different perspectives, same time every Monday at 8:30 Central. And coming at you with 88. That is the name of the film, 88. It's available on Amazon Prime, Stars, I think Hulu, some other
Michael Irvin, Drew Pearson. Let's see what other 88. CD Lamb. All the 88.
All the 88s. All right, so this is one right up our alley. You know, we do these types of films that produce conversation and that get people thinking and talking. So that's why we picked this one and we're doing this one tonight. Shout out to, I think A-Trop was the one that put that in the chat. So thank you for the recommendation. Let's give a couple shout outs here. We got Miss Lake in the building. She said patiently waiting. So I don't know how long she's been in
since 6:30. It says 6:30. You know what lake you at, number one? Is it Lake Ray Hubbard? Is it Joe Pool? Is it the Great Lakes? I need to know which lake.
Waiting.
6:30.
Just Joe in the building. We ain't seen you in a minute, Just Joe. Pretty sure hopefully you're doing well.
What's up, Joe? What's up, Anna?
Anna in the building. Excited for this movie's commentary. Okay, appreciate that.
I'm not.
This may not be a long one. All right. So let's
I already gotta pee.
That mean all right. A-Trop, how you doing?
Always good, man. You know how I do it.
Yeah.
You know how I do it.
Yeah.
Always good.
All right, Doc. Man, got the experience.
I'm fantastic, man, and I cannot believe that something happened to me. I think it's been 3 weeks now, and I have not shared it with y'all.
Yeah, okay.
Have I shared it with you, Ben?
I don't think so.
About what happened with me and the ticket and at last boarding.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I just had to show it on there. I don't know if I shared it with A-Trap.
Nah.
So there's this charity. There's this charity, At Last Boarding, and Donovan of the Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket has a domino tournament every year to support this charity. And this charity is a boarding facility for underprivileged youth over in the Oak Cliff area. And it's taking a different approach to their schooling. So instead of just concentrating on only tutors and things of that nature, it actually gives them a safe, clean place to stay throughout the course of the week. So they'll stay there from like Sunday night through Thursday night and then spend the weekends with their family. But that way during the school week, they don't have any distractions of home life, you know, and they can concentrate on their school life. So this is a charity. It's only been around for 3 years, but already making inroads that are just massive. In fact, they got their first 6th grader that actually has a full ride scholarship already to college.
Wow.
So I couldn't participate in a domino tournament, which those of you who know me know I'm a domino beast. So that's probably good for them. But I was able to buy a raffle ticket. They were giving away a 2023 Chevy Equinox. for King Doc won the 2023 Chevy Equinox. And I say, to the people that I've told about this, it is directly connected to my giving. Those of you who know me knows I'm a giver. I take real pleasure in it. That whole it is more blessed to give than to receive. That's me all day, every day. So to be able to win something like that off of giving is just fantastic. So so I just thought that was a pretty cool deal.
That's dope.
To win a brand new freaking car.
So what he told me was he texted me Sunday night and said, tune in to the ticket around this time. So I'm at work and I'm tuning in. I'm like, they keep talking about dominoes. So I'm like, he obviously won the domino contest. That's why he was telling me. So I keep listening, and then they say, yeah, we're gonna bring on a special guest. I was like, okay, it must be him. Maybe he's about to, because Donovan won the award for the
best featured guest.
Okay,
yeah,
he's gonna be on the radio giving out this award. So that was the second thing I was thinking. And then they said, yeah, we giving away a car, and we got Ivan Dawkins, and I was like, whoa. So I mean, I was surprised too. So you definitely handled that well. I'm sure maybe you couldn't tell anybody, what was going on.
I couldn't. Yeah. Because
it
obviously
was,
they had to let me know to get on the station,
Right. But I mean, that definitely goes to the old Negro spiritual. You can't beat God's gift, no matter how hard.
No matter how hard you try.
All right.
That's what we sing at Alfred, and then we sing Reach Out and Touch when it's time to go home.
Right. Exactly. Sing that doing benevolence too. But we got Keisha in the building. Thank you for tuning in. She said, hey there, fellas. Ms. Lake says, jokes. Good evening. Yeah, we could come with the jokes.
Do anybody know Tarnia? How did you hear about us, Tarnia? We like to recognize any first-time viewers or people we didn't know. So, we try to treat you like family and come with the jokes because that's what we do to everybody, So as long as we're joking with you, we good. I see you got your edge control good on your little profile picture, stuff like that. You got the, the Sally's Beauty Supply hoop earrings and everything. So we really appreciate you.
You must ran track. You ran a hoop earrings.
You must ran track. Wow.
But I think that's A-Truck. That's one of your folks, right?
Nah, he normally acknowledged quicker than that.
All right. Red streak in the building.
Blue streak, freak. Oh, she done changed a little. The anniversary must be coming close. She done got a little wedding picture on there or something. See, I knew it. I knowed it. Happy anniversary to you, Theodora.
All right. Initial thoughts. 88. You can see the graphic behind me. The main characters, Orlando. Is it not Jones? Orlando.
Orlando Jones.
That's his name. Okay, Orlando Jones.
Well, that's his. Orlando Jones was the politician in it.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's safe to say Brander Victor Dixon was the main character who played Femi Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Doc. Initial thoughts, and then give us the description.
Yeah. So I get a plot first, and it's basically Femi Jackson, again played by Brander Victor Dixon, is the financial director for a super PAC that backs a front-runner presidential candidate who is played by Orlando Jones. His name is Harold Roundtree. They didn't really search hard trying to get that name, did they?
That is the most recycled name probably on earth. The first thing I like.
After discovering unusual patterns in donations, he enlists the help of an investment blogger to dig a little deeper. Together, they follow the campaign money trail back to its nefarious origins in a race against time to uncover the truth before the primaries. My initial thoughts are hell of a plot. I think with this plot, you can do a lot with it. I'll tell you whether I think they did or not later. I'm going to leave it like that. This film looked like it cost them $17.22 to make, motherfucker. That's what I'm going to say.
Hey, Trey.
Thank you, Alfred. Alfred back,
All
I
right.
was
man.
looking at you. I'm
Cheers.
drinking me a little Arnold Palmer today.
Okay.
Yeah. Up first, I want to say happy anniversary to my older sister,
Yes, sir.
and happy anniversary to my man Joe.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy anniversary,
What
Joe.
about you, Joe?
What anniversary was it? I mean, is it, he just got out the penitentiary that day, or what is the
Oh, no, Joe.
anniversary?
Joe been married. This is his
Oh, he
first
got
year.
okay.
He been
Okay.
married 365 days.
Joe, that's a great question because Alfred has been on. He must have been suspended for something. I don't know because I ain't seen Alfred ass in a long time either.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, COVID had to keep him away. You know what I mean?
He had the third year of COVID.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID. You know.
Thank you for tuning in, April.
April showers.
But
Brought us those make
as you
flowers.
stated, it was a great plot. It was a very interesting plot. It was intriguing. It wasn't the greatest quality of film as you stated, but I think the story itself made up for the plot.
Okay. Made up for the quality of filming, you mean?
Yeah, made up
the
for
plot
the
made up.
Yeah,
the
plot.
Yeah, it carried it, It carried it. I guess the plot made it watchable. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I would say I was intrigued by the trailer. As soon as I seen the trailer, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. This is right up our alley. But I agree with both of y'all. I don't think it was I don't know necessarily if he had the right actors to pull this off. I think Femi was not believable at all. The entire
imagine what you could have did with that. Maybe a Samuel L. Jackson type, or I mean, it's some folks with some folks with some oomph is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Femi was a little too soft, and I think his wife was trying to tell him that through the whole movie.
Yeah,
she was the gangster in the thing.
Right.
Maybe it's because she played in Power.
She been in a lot. I think she was in Biggie. I think she played.
She was. She played Foxy. Did she play? There you go. Look Kim. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She done put on a few pounds since then, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't? Right.
No, you know what? I don't have a problem with Femi. I did. Only thing I had, because he was an American. At the end of the day, he was from the United States of America. His mother was Nigerian, so he was raised in a, culturally he was different, but he was raised in dual cultures. He was Americanized. He was from the United States of America at the end of the day, but he had mentally and the work ethic of an immigrant. So
you mean as his character or in real life?
Yeah, because his character.
Okay.
Because look at it this way. When you look at Femi, he would act the way he's acting because he has a Nigerian background, stern. You're gonna be an accountant, you're gonna be a doctor, or you're gonna be something of that nature when you're a Nigerian. That's just the way it goes. All my Nigerian friends are that. They're outcasts. So he wouldn't have an accent, but he would have the family values of a Nigerian because his mother's an immigrant. Because remember, at the very beginning, his mother, he said, my mother's, they introduced him. He said, yeah, my mother's from Nigeria. He said, I'm from the States, but my mother's Nigerian. So I didn't really have a problem. Like you said, I think it was the quality of film, the actual aesthetics of the film. That's where I think it will lose a lot of people. But if they would have put more money into the quality, I think it would have been a better film.
Yeah. It was almost like a mixture of, because it had some history in it. It had some, fast forwarding when he was telling the kid, what do you do when the police, and they had the flashing lights. It was almost like a like something like AME, type of film or something that was on Lifetime, or one of those types of films where they couldn't put a lot behind it, but they tried. I mean, they tried their best to fully pull it off. And I just think they fell a little bit short. But
the thing I like,
we'll see y'all next week.
The thing I liked about the film is it was like part documentary, part PSA, part film. They touched on a lot of topics. They touched on a lot of things that are near and dear to the Black community, which made me truly enjoy it. Like Wilkes mentioned in the group chat yesterday, this is in my wheelhouse. I definitely think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Wilkes right there. He said, I don't think that was the point of making the characters believable. It's a subliminal message movie with real
Yes,
world references and documentation of actual facts. Appreciate
that's
that.
exactly what I just said.
Appreciate that. All right. So the kind of the movie starts off, Femi's in the house with his wife, Maria. They're all kind of sitting down and they go into the Black Panther dialogue, which I mean, in the Black community, I think the majority of people were excited about that film, but there were some that felt like Maria. So I felt like that was a real moment that
Mhm.
people think on both sides of it. So I felt like that was a good opening. Kind of showed he was a family man, which I appreciated that because sometimes in films that part's lost, and it's more like, oh, he was more about his work than he was about being a dad, which he was really about both. About life is about balance. So he could have went too far to the left or right, but I like that opening of it because I think that kind of laid some groundwork of who he was. I want to touch on that.
Most definitely. It laid the groundwork to who he was. It laid the groundwork of the family dynamic. And it actually gives you, I think it gives you insight on how a family actually should work. You could love somebody to the end of the earth. You love them with no limits. But we don't have to be in agreement with everything. And I think that's where a lot of relationships in today's friendships and romantic relationships, interpersonal relationships fail because we think because H-Rap is my man and I must agree with everything he says. Otherwise, we can't. No, we don't have to agree on anything. The only thing we really have to agree upon is I love you, you love me, and we love this
We're
boy.
a happy family.
Exactly. And I think that was beautiful the way they laid that out because they are diametrically opposed to a bunch of things. And then it also showed the give and take in regards to marriage. Like, look,
Yeah.
I ain't with this, the country is tripping and, we're a family, but I'm going to need you not to do certain things. And you're going to have to compromise. He couldn't watch Monday Night Football. I think it was a little bit over the top. But
Yeah.
I think, it was a beautiful situation because it humanized the Black community. Like Will said, it was a bunch of subliminal messages. And we got a chance to get a peek inside the actual Black community instead of that. And please, no one take this as disrespect. None of that Cosby Show stuff where Cliff and Claire was just always agreeing on everything.
Yeah. And this had some they cloned Tyrone parallels in it as well, which that was a recent film. Go back and watch that review. But Doc, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think not only did it set the scene for who he was, it laid some groundwork for who he was. I think it laid some groundwork for who she was.
Oh,
You knew right away, what you was getting with her, So, I think it did what it was attempting to do there. And I still, at that point in the film, I still had hope.
Yeah.
Still had hope right there.
I agree. They got pretty much straight to it because he was basically going to the office and he was like, I see something that's off. And that obviously, if you watch the trailer, that already gives you what was going on. You already knew. Look said that was it'd be your own people moment. Kind of forever, yeah. But I mean that pretty much showed you okay. Some money's going weird. Some there, and when I thought about this super PAC, when they started using that term more and more, immediately I'm like, this is happening now. This is not nothing far fetched or this is just hypothetical. This stuff is happening now. I mean, why do you think so many laws get pushed and get presented? And that relates to another film we did. What was it? 13th Amendment. I think and that dived into that. So that's another one. But yeah. So he kind of goes in. He realizes something's off. What was your thoughts that moment, Doc, when he goes to the office and sees something's off?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think there was any curveballs in the thing. Like it was pretty straightforward. Where they were going. So again, knowing what the plot was, like you said, they got right to it, and the only difference was going to be who was going to be the dirty one.
Right.
So I'd say that was probably only the curveball is you didn't know necessarily who on the staff was the dirty one. And it turned out to a certain extent, they all had some dirt on him with the exception of him.
Right.
You know, and his homeboy he brought in.
Right.
That's one of the things the plot didn't say when they said he enlisted the help of an investment blogger to dig a little deeper. Well, that wasn't just an investment blogger. That was his homeboy, his sponsor. You know, that's another thing too that they subtly put in there is that I guess he's a recovering alcoholic, you know, and whatnot. So, yeah, so that wasn't just an investment blogger. That was his sponsor, homeboy. I mean, his kid called him Uncle, you know, whatever.
Uncle White Guy.
Uncle Michael or whatever his name was. I can't remember.
Uncle White Guy.
Either way, you know. So yeah, I just thought it was pretty straightforward. You know, it wasn't no, no whole bunch of suspense where you was wondering. I wonder what's going to happen.
Right.
Actually, I believe it was like to go back to the point that Wilkes made. Thanks, Wilkes. I think this was part of the sublim. It was like this is why I said it was part PSA, part documentary, and part cinematic art. The PSA portion was Black people need political action committees. That's why we losing in this race called politics. Oh, got drinking too much. That's why we losing this race called politics, because we don't have a group of people that have a think tank and creating issues, addressing the issues that we have: underfunded schools, after school programs, vocational programs, so forth, and music programs being supplemented. And then when we do that, you'll be able to do whatever you need to do in your community. That's one. The second part was, I disagree, Doc. Uncle White Guy, he was dirty, because remember, at one point in the film, he went to the older white gentleman and the white lady, and they had a powwow before they were supposed to meet with Orlando Jones, the presidential candidate, and they all knew what time it was. So all of them had dirt on him. He didn't, and that was the thing. That was the thing that his wife was trying to tell him. Look, this looks clean on the outside, but it's all dirty. We're playing in the mud. We're literally playing in the mud, and if you're gonna keep playing with these people, you're gonna get mud all over you.
Right. Now, are you talking about the moment where they kind of figured everything out? He was at his house.
Yeah, that's toward the end, whatever meeting, because they didn't meet with the presidential candidate.
Yeah, that was towards the end, but in the middle of the film, they met up together. All three of them met.
Oh, right.
Maybe 45 minutes before they met with the president, and it was identified that he knew what was going on.
Right. And the guy that was, I don't know who he was in the film, but he seemed like he was on the staff. He immediately, not immediately, but he kind of divulged, like, I know what's going on, but we still need this money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they kind of they were doing a Zoom or something with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm pulling my money because something's off. And he's like sliding her the paper. But to me, the lady from the jump, I knew she was involved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was any other way that she didn't know what was going on. And I think she was almost like she was the puppet in it. They were all really puppets. I mean, they're all.
You knew she was involved, because as soon as Femi told her, she basically wanted to sit on it.
Right.
She didn't want to do nothing with it.
She wasn't surprised.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't like, wow, oh, that's a major issue. No, it was just like,
No.
Okay. I mean, this is what you coming to tell me? Like, I got other stuff to do. Basically.
And then let's not forget, everything you donate to the campaign, the people who are in charge of the campaign keep their money after it's over. If I ran for office and everybody who ever watched this program all over the country start sending money, when I win, lose, or draw, that money is split up between the campaign people. So
really,
yeah, they don't send that money back.
You saying what's left over, because they
in people's pocket, man. You like when in the event that all this money these people are sending your man Trump, he pocketing in that joint.
Oh
man.
yeah, he definitely
was in his pocket. I mean, if somebody start, what's his name, Cornel West, the money he's gonna get, that's going in the Cornel West coppers. So this is a hustle as well.
Yeah,
and again, it goes back to PSA, documentary film, and art.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the subliminal message saying that, Black people need to have PACs for some of the issues we struggle with in the community, why make it subliminal?
I don't know why make it subliminal. You make it subliminal, in my personal opinion, so you don't sound preachy. You present, it's not really subliminal. You're just hand mixing it to you. Look,
You're
this is
presenting it.
happening.
Yeah.
I'm presenting this to you. This is something that you need to start doing. Not really a
If it's subliminal, how many people gonna miss it?
Well, that's why we do what we do, because we will be bringing it to people's attention. The people who will watch it, they'll go, damn, we do need to do that. And when you see things, when you see something of this nature, you realize art is imitating life and light is imitating art all simultaneously. So why, it should, in my opinion, it should trigger the thought, why don't we have that? Because we clearly know white nationalists have a PAC, the Republican Party got a PAC, the Green Party got a PAC, the Independents got a PAC, the Democratic Party got a PAC. But the people, the Latino community have a PAC, the Asian community have a PAC, but we don't have one. We sit around and say, they don't do it for us. And the only way you get things done in a criminal enterprise, in this criminal enterprise called the United States of America is, and we're living in a capitalist society, is through the bread. You got to buy your politicians. If you don't buy them, you ain't gonna get nothing.
Which is what makes you a super PAC versus just a PAC. And for those of you who don't know, a PAC is a political action committee. So, there are, hundreds of political action committees out there, if not thousands. But what make them a super PAC is when that money get long. Because they talking about, you had an individual donor who had already gave 15 million, out of his own pocket to back this candidate, because he was expecting this candidate to be able to support some of the laws and whatnot that he needed for his business to continue to be successful, and he can pocket a larger amount of the money. Once he figured the guy was going to be volatile, the other 10 million he was going to be donating, he pulled back and said, I'm going to give it to this other candidate now. Which again, they were both on the same political party. And she was like, whenever he said that, she was like, well, he's not going to get the nomination. And he said, that's why you spin on both sides of the aisle. So what he was trying to tell her is that, like, I got news for you. I'm giving y'all 15 to 25 million. Let's just say they were the Democratic Party or whatever. I'm giving them some money too. So either way, I win. And to me, that's a big point of the plot that, is telling the tale. I got news for you. If you think the big donors out there ain't freezing both palms, so they can get done what they need to get done, they ain't tripping about who wins. They ain't gonna go out and ride the streets when whoever get elected, because 9 times out of 10 they got somebody on the inside of both of them.
And I think this is a prime example. The prime example is Trump. The money that he received and his campaign received and all of that, that pushed him to the status where he was even better at being the candidate and being chosen and all that. That helped him get the whole, the whole evangelical clique and getting him all of the buzz that he needed. And that's exactly how it works.
2 Corinthians. But either way, though, you ain't. That's Trump's favorite scripture, ain't it? 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians, yeah.
I was like, huh? 2 Corinthians.
That's what he said. 2 Corinthians. That's how you know he ain't read
nothing. He ain't read nothing.
But now these donations that come into these PACs, and sometimes they don't go to the PACs; they go directly to the candidates. His funds, his campaign, coffer, so to speak. There's supposed to be rules and regulations with regard to how those happen and where that money comes from and how it's recorded and all that other kind of stuff. But there are ways around that.
They don't have to do ways around anymore.
Shell corporations and shelf corporations, which was new for me in this one. That's the only reason this one's getting a 3 instead of a 2 is because, it's a shelf corporation and a shell corporation, and they describe that. Yeah, 501c4 versus 501c3, so yeah.
They don't have to get around anymore. Citizen United changed that in 2018. They changed it so corporations are now people, so they can donate as much as they want.
What I mean by having to get around it is because, like in this, you don't want to know where this money is coming from, because then you're going to know our agenda, which is why, so you got white supremacists donating to this candidate. You don't want to know, and it's not that the white supremacists don't want folks to know the candidate number one in this situation, because you had white supremacists donating to a black candidate. Obviously, it was going to cause some questions. So that's what I mean by, there's ways around being able to say who donated this money. It's corporations inside of corporations inside of corporations. They would do things like start a corporation and don't do nothing with it. Just let it sit until it's time to use, because then that corporation will be 2, 3, 4, 20 years old. So whenever they start donating money and you look into it, this corporation been around for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, but they ain't had nothing but a P.O. box for 20 years.
Right. Which goes to the Living Spaces Estates, which there's an actual store called Living Spaces.
Right. That is right. That's true.
But anyway, they had a P.O. box. He goes up to the spot and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here to talk to somebody." And the security guard is like, "Yeah, you got the wrong spot." It was like, "Oh." Yeah. Then when he told him, I'm here to look into funds and donations, that's when it kind of arose and it became an issue. And so that was probably the only suspenseful part, because he was like, "All right, I gotta somebody," and then somebody called him and he gotta ran away.
Get out of there. Yeah.
Right. Shout out to Travelmatic. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to his channel, BSU Network, and find all of his shows on demand available. All right, A-Trap, like you were gonna.
Oh no! It's that's why I said it's a lot of sublims in this. There's a lot of information being disseminated, and if you're watching with a mindful eye, you won't miss it. This is why I was so intrigued with this. There, you see the conversation about young black men interacting with police officers. You see the conversation about academia pretending that the attack and the onslaught and the violence projected upon our community isn't real. They don't even want to identify it. This ties right into CRT. We want to address the problems. We just want to sweep the problems under the rug. And again, this goes back to having a pack. When you have a pack, you can address these things. If you don't have any financial backing in this criminal enterprise called the United States of America, you're just gonna get stuck. You're just gonna be talking. You're gonna be protesting. You're gonna be standing outside waving signs talking about Black Lives Matter, and up until and including the moment you withdraw the funds, and then you'll get answers, and then you'll get some action. And that's why I truly enjoyed the film, because this tie, like Will said last night, this is my wheelhouse. This is exactly what I live to do. This is what I talk about every Tuesday.
Yeah. It definitely was, and they the term you use quite often. Manutoast,
manumission. Yeah, that was the.
And she was a firecracker, man. She went and that goes to the point where I think she worked at a bank. Mm-hmm. I was coming in to get a loan. Mm-hmm. The manager wasn't even going to hear it and wasn't even going to offer it. She came in and confronted the manager with some facts. And that goes to the history aspect. It had some history in this that I think really, if you don't watch it for any reason at all, you can watch it for that, and that'll give you some, some information. So yeah, that I immediately thought about you when she mentioned that.
Yeah, man, Marisol, man, you mentioned past 1771, and it's basically, you get your freedom, and a lot of people see economics as freedom, right? And when you look at it from an economic standpoint, you talk about freedom. You get to move around and do what you want to do. Or, of course, that's the perception that you have. Meritos, man, you mentioned this simply. When our ancestors were enslaved, they had three choices. Just three ways you got your freedom. You were enslaved, and you will get your freedom if you, A, save a white man's life, make life easier for a white man, or snitch on a slave revolt. It seems as if she was doing all three. She was making life easier for her superiors because she was blackface, turning down loans of black people. So blackface people. So I ain't turn her down. It was her. And then, you saving them, because once You create your own entity. You know, you don't have to go to Mattel. You can go to that man. You can go to Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez has his own toys. He's building up his own empire now. He's creating freedom for himself.
Yeah.
So this is why it was so intriguing to me. The entire landscape of this movie put you in a position to like, whew. And then my favorite part was when they told the truth. They kept telling the truth. When they talked about the neo-Nazis, they talked about Adolf Hitler. They talked about the fact that Adolf Hitler learned how to treat the Jews in accordance to the way people of color, with our community is being treated in the United States of America. Yeah. You mean to tell me this dude created a Third Reich? He created a mindset of a superior nation based on the way the people in this country are being treated, people of color in this country being treated, black people being treated in this country. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that, but that's why this film was great to me, because when people look at me and they think I'm hating other cultures, they think I'm angry with other cultures, and I'm just pulling the scab back. No, this is what it is. It's not about. And my favorite line in this entire situation is when that man told him that the coffee guy was like, no, this ain't about race. And he said what I said 1,000 times. Race is a social construct. You're only a black man once you go get in the Atlantic Ocean and go west. Otherwise, you're an American. They're only white when they're going west on the Atlantic Ocean. Otherwise, they are what they consider themselves in their own personal circles. Right. When you get a group of white people together, they say, oh, no, I'm Greek Irish. I'm this. I'm French. I'm German. I'm Polish. They don't say I'm white. Right. They don't say I'm white. I'm Italian. They don't say I'm white. I'm Spanish. Ron DeSantis, he don't consider himself white. He considers himself Spanish. So these are the things that need to be on display in our community so they can go, hey, leave this black-white thing alone. It's about power. It's about finance. It's about structure. And once you get that, you'll be able to, you can fight on as even playing.
Yeah.
But
did y'all know 88 had that
connotation, that tie-in?
Connotation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
I didn't. Because CD Lamb knew that. Ain't no way he'd have took that.
CD, Dez, Drew Pearson, if any of them. I mean,
but but chances are that's one of several, little encoded, situations like that, Right. And I can, George Carlin is one. If you have not listened to George Carlin as a comedian, white guy who's since passed away, and he talked about how he goes, he's long said this ain't got nothing to do with race. He goes, there's a club and you and I ain't in it. He told her, and it's a white guy saying this. He goes, we ain't part of the club, right. So don't get it twisted, and I can't remember who, says it more frequently, but there's also a guy out there who always talks about, from a socioeconomic standpoint, he's like, hey, I got news for you. White trash people, y'all should be the most friendliest MFers to black folks and Mexican folks that's out there, because y'all are looked at the same way we looked at. It is not. That's why you say the new race is going to be based on dollars and cents. Who got it? Who ain't? That's going to be your racial divide. It's going to be a financial divide, not having anything to do with race, and that's been in the works for a long time.
Yeah. Do y'all feel like this was too long? First, I'll say yes. I feel like they could have.
It wasn't linked to me because, again, remember, how often do we get back to a point where we think about what we do is difficult from the standpoint of the information based on how the information was presented. Yeah. We get wrapped up in the information. It's like, wow, the information is so great, right? Like the George Foreman movie. It was a difficult one to grade because I love the topic so much, but the way they presented it wasn't that great at all, which is why I got a 3. So this was in that same category. The presentation wasn't great, but the information was, so the length of the film, didn't register, for me, because again, the information was still there. Now, I did have to watch it in 2 different settings, so, I guess to a certain extent it may have been an issue, but it wasn't a complaint of mine. There's a lot of long list of complaints I got about this movie before the length of it registers.
Yeah, A-Trap.
No, I'm with Doc. It was, I can see both sides of the argument. It was a bit lengthy to me, but it wasn't. They dragged it out. They could have ended it maybe 15, 20 minutes before.
2 hours.
Yeah, toward the end. But toward the end, that's when they went from a 2 to a 3 in some of that end piece of it, because they're doing like they play the little clips. I thought it was neat from a filmmaking standpoint when they started doing stuff like just inputting a little video clip of George Carlin saying that, and stuff like that. What I wish they would have done, because a lot of people in our community are familiar with terms lobbyists, and they know what those people do, but knowing the difference between a lobbyist and a PAC, they may not understand that. And then also the fact that a super PAC is around, even that was lobbied to get passed so super PACs can give unlimited funds. So even the fact that you have a PAC was done in a dirty way, because they knew what they were trying to get done.
Right.
They knew we can outspend these MFers, but we handcuff as to how much we can give and how we got to give it.
Right.
Well, how we get these handcuffs off, but make it look like we're getting them off for a good reason.
Right.
And I ain't got no problem with that to a certain extent. If it's your money, spend it how you want to spend it, Now, because again, we got a long list of violations before we get to the fact that we're talking about how you spending your money. Yeah, you probably done broke a whole bunch of laws and regulations and whatever to even get the money you got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, me personally, I do have a problem with the money, because we're living in a capitalist society. When you're living in a capitalist society, hey, who got the most toys, they win. And traditionally, like.
So you got a problem with how they spend their money, or do you got a problem with how they acquired their money?
And how they spend their money in regards to the campaigns. It's, again, if you can bombard people 99 times out of 100, if you can bombard people, especially in the society we live in today, you can inundate people with erroneous information, or just constantly, you go to YouTube, you see it. You go to Facebook, you see it. You go to Twitter, you see it. You turn on your TV, you see it. You see it. You see it. You see it. At that point, at some point, just like with music, it can be a song that you hate. And if you hear it enough, you'll learn the words. You will literally learn the words to a song if you hear it enough times. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to like it. You may not even like the artist.
No doubt.
And that's what these people with these super PACs, that's what they do. They bombard you with half truths. Like I gave an example last week on my show. They put people like Candace Owens, and in the sports world, Jason Whitlock, they put these people in front of you who give you a percentage of the truth. And it is truth in their statement, but it's not the truth. Candace Owens, for example, 2 weeks ago, she popped up again, because anytime you say if you say election, Candace Owens and Jason Whitlock, all of a sudden they on my timeline. I don't follow them. I don't do anything with them, but they pop up on my timeline. Candace Owens has come out when they're trying to do away with African American studies and AP African American studies, to be specific. Why are they always trying to teach slavery? Well, America didn't invent slavery. Slavery was around for thousands of years. The Greeks had slaves. The African people even had slaves. In Egypt, they had slaves. Yes, Miss Owen, you are 1,000,000,000% correct. But chattel slavery and traditional slavery are two different things. Yeah. If you want to talk about the Egyptians, look at the Bible. They had slaves in the Bible. Yeah, Joseph was a slave in the Bible, and Joseph became king. The next time Kunta Kinte ass get a chance to run for president, you let me know. When Joseph was in the Bible, the people in the Bible went from slavery to king. And people
lived in the house. He was wearing the same clothes.
Exactly.
Not as if he was wearing scraps and eating scraps.
Exactly. Exactly. Chattel slavery, you were stripped of they were attempting to strip you of your humanity. They took your name, they took your identity, they even took your diet. They took your diet. And when you do that to somebody, you struck, one of the beautiful things about even my dad dying 4 months before I was born, every time anybody know me, I spend a lot of time with my aunts. And when I'm around my aunts, my aunt Ernestine last week, We were on our way to the store. Aunt Ernestine, and she was like, I don't know, my dad came up. She was like, you know what, you starting to act just like your daddy. I said, huh? She's like, you know what, I've been watching you for years. And when you get pissed off, your head goes to the left, just like your dad. And she starts up, and that's the beauty in it. This is something that was stripped of. Just imagine. You take that little bit of information, which gives me more pride in being a Williams, gives me more pride in myself. You strip that from an entire nation of people. And then you say, well, go on here, we're going to let y'all go. And then you expect them to be normal. When you are experiencing pain, untreated pain becomes trauma for an individual. Untreated trauma for a community is a generational curse. And that's what we're trying to fight through currently. So when people like Candace Owens tell you, slavery has been around for 1,000 years. Yeah. But guess what? Those people who left Israel, those people who left and went to Israel to go to the promised land, they had their diet, they had their God, they had their names, they had their languages.
Yeah,
we ain't got it.
Yeah, and I would be very interested to see where her money comes from, because it's not coming from us.
Well, let me just say this: if there's a Candace Owens on that side of the aisle, on that side of the argument, where is her opposite? You need this super PAC that's on that side of the aisle spending money against what our community, what would benefit our community. There is still somebody on the other side that can do that. So I'm just very careful when it comes to getting to a point to where we can say, or we want folks to control how we spend our money. In fact, with the digital currency, that is one of the main arguments is you're going to be able to tell me how to spend my money and how I can't. You can only spend this amount on that. You can only spend this amount on that. Oh, you're going to tell me I can only buy one new car per 5 years or whatever. I'm just making an example up, right? I can only buy fast food once every 3 days. I can only, you follow what I'm saying? With this digital currency, you don't have that ability to do that right now with my paper money. I can do whatever I want to do with it. And I can even do it in a way where it's not traced, because it's mine. I should be able to spend it the way I want, so you got to be careful when folks come in and saying, we're going to be able to tell you how you spend your money.
And you're right. With that being said, dog, it is your inalienable right to do what you want to do with the money, with the funds that you acquire, right? But the problem is when you make IBM a person, Citizens United made IBM a person. IBM is not a person. IBM is an entity. Now we can get into a lot of the minutia of people versus corporations. I don't want to do that. But when you start saying IBM is a person, that means IBM has the same rights as Ivan. And IBM does not have the same rights as Ivan, because I don't care if Ivan hits 10 power balls in a row, he's not going to have IBM money. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. You have the white nationalists who are at the head of IBM, the white nationalists who are at the head of I don't want to say Microsoft, but for the sake of conversation, we're going to say Microsoft, who are at the head of NBC, who are at the head of ABC, who are at the head of Disney. And they are pouring, and so they can get tax breaks, they can get land grants and things of that nature. They're pouring into these these candidates, and they're getting what they want. That's when it's unfair. When it's Ivan, the individual, you're 1 billion% correct. I can't tell Ivan what to do. But when you're the Dallas Cowboys, when you're the Oakland Raiders, when you're the Chicago Bears, and we built your stadium, and you have all these tax breaks in accordance to what Ivan, Ben, H-Rap, and everybody else who's watching us have all the taxes they pay, and our children are suffering in regards to books and things of that nature. You still getting tax breaks and you getting tax exemptions. No, the hell you cannot invest in this. You shouldn't be able to invest in H-Rap the candidate, because you can sway the vote in accordance to how much money you can pour into it. That's all I'm saying.
But my point is that on both sides of the aisle, you got money on both sides of the aisle.
But the difference is that the people on the aisle itself isn't real, because You got people on both sides of the aisle. You're right. There are billionaires on both sides. But guess what? To quote, like you just quoted Donald Trump, we're going to quote him again. I don't pay the taxes. And she said, why? Well, look, Hillary Clinton said, he don't even pay his tax. He said, yeah, because I'm smart enough to get around it. And she said, and then he told the truth and the world didn't pay attention to it. He said, you know what? She ain't going to do nothing about no taxes because the same people who back her, they get those tax breaks. That's the dude that said, I play both sides of the fence. I'm gonna talk this Republican Democrat thing, but that's a red herring. That's a farce. None of that
stuff. I was an opportunity for him to
it's just opportunity for a bunch of people to lie and say I'm down. You know, just like you drive through the city of Chicago, drive through the city of Dallas, you drive through the city of Forney, you drive through the city of Spartanburg or wherever you live. You see Black Lives Matter signs. It's all a joke. It's a farce. I'm down with y'all. But you know what? If you really down, saying Black Lives Matter and then watching what happened to our women and children, not even the men. I ain't gonna talk about the men. Just look at what happened to our women and children in this community. It's equivalent, in my personal opinion, of seeing a woman get raped as you walk down the street and you just look at her. If you don't kick that dude in his back or do something, piss on him or something, you might as well jump down there and get you a couple pumps in too. And that's what all these liberals and all these people who down for the cause, who don't do anything, that's what y'all do. Y'all watched our community get assaulted for better than 200 years, and y'all ain't did nothing but say, that's messed up. A-Strap got kicked in his head again, huh? Nah, man, ain't nobody trying to hear that nonsense.
But I'm going to give you some corporations who've been saying, I'm down with y'all long before Black Lives Matter came out. McDonald's, Home Depot, Coke, Ford. The classic move. Mm-hmm. It's the rules of engagement, though. You know, if that's what the rules of the game is, they are playing it. Mm-hmm. That doesn't stop anybody else from playing that game, you know. Yeah. So they've been doing it for the longest by pumping money into our community through advertising and, you know, things of that nature. So it can appear as if, they with us.
Exactly.
But what they doing behind the scenes. So again, that game
money to Trump, they giving money to Bush, they're giving money to, you know, when you look at the entire landscape of this, that's why I really appreciated this film. You look at the landscape of this thing. This is literally Joe Biden and Bill Clinton versus Donald Trump and George Bush. People, you know, you see Joe Biden and Bill Clinton as our friends, right? That's what they've been dressed up as, our friends. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton changed, huh?
I said that's what they told us.
Yeah, that's what they told us. This just like the whole farce of you get to pick who the president is. No, it ain't. No, you don't. You don't get to pick who the president is. Well, you vote and then you choose. That's the equivalent of this. Hey, Ben, dog, after the show, we're gonna go get something to eat. Y'all can pick whatever y'all want, Burger King or McDonald's. I ain't gave y'all no choice. I told y'all what y'all gonna eat, Burger King or McDonald's. You ain't choosing. You're gonna get this dude or that dude. Joe Biden, look, lesser two evils kind of deal. Joe Biden, I will never forget this, man. My first time ever voting.
Amen.
1988, first time I ever voted. I voted Republican. I voted for Bush. I voted for Bush. You know, I voted for Bush because I remember Joe Biden's on TV. You know what he said? If Haiti goes in the water and sinks into the ocean, who gonna care? A lot of black people didn't care at that time, but I did. So I ain't vote for him. But then who do I vote for? The devil. I voted for a dude who bankrolled Freeway Rick Ross and to poison our entire community. I bankrolled that. So at that point, you realize the lesser of two evils, you still voting for evil.
Yeah.
You still losing. Win or lose, you still losing. Those are the rules.
It's the devil number one or the devil number two.
Exactly, man. You gonna vote for the people who are actively trying to kill you or the people who poisoning you?
And let me just say this about that is that some folks hide what kind of devil they are a little bit better than other folks.
That is.
So what you think may be the lesser of two evils may not be.
Right.
No, they just may be better at
you know how to put on the front.
Right.
We'll set it perfect with this comment. This movie went from Civil War, Nazi to civil rights to Southern strategy to dark money. It had all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is a lose-lose situation. There's no win or lose. It's a lose-lose. Denise, thank you for tuning in the building. Say good evening. All right, so go ahead.
No, it's just that's why this movie just grabbed me, man. Because again, like Will said in the chat last night, this is my get down. This is my get down, and there's ways around it, but the easiest way to beat this whole system is to not, it's this picture I saw. Maybe it was like 2005. This woman sent it to me. We used to talk about politics all the time, and there was a man. It was Abraham Lincoln on one end of the chessboard, and it was a black man on the other end of the chessboard. Abraham Lincoln had a gun on him. He said, "How do you win this game?" And she texted to me. She said, "How you win this game?" And I looked at the picture, and you know what I responded to her? You don't play the game. And how do you not play this game of politics? You purchase your politicians, and you withdraw from the system. See, capitalism is funded by greed. And when you got greed in play, if you remove your funds from the greedy people, they come to you and then you set the pace. But we never do that. We consistently try to inculcate our being into a system that does not want us. It's like it's almost rape. It's almost self-rape in a sense. You cannot force yourself into a woman's body. You cannot force yourself into a woman's body. And that's what we've been trying to do. We're trying to force ourselves into this system called the United States of America, when every other culture that we look up to, and man, we should be more like them. The difference in us and them is they pull back and keep their money. They make their money circulate, and they make themselves stronger and stronger. We go, well, if we can just get involved, we'll get a shot. No, you create your own shots. A lot of us have done it, and one of us will continue to do it, but we just have to have that mindset to do it.
Yeah. How long or how far off do you think we are from that?
Personally, I think it'll take a decade. I think we can be there at the end of the decade, but we just have to stop trying to be a part of it. Me and you have done this. Me and you created networks. We create content. We create a possibility. We've done it. So what we have to do is be 10 fingers, 10 toes involved and get our hands and knees dirty trying to get it done. The fact that we don't miss a Sunday, we don't miss a Monday, excuse me. We continue to go into it. Now, what we have to do is stop saying the best job in the world is downtown Dallas, downtown Chicago, because that's not the best job in the world. That's the best job. That's the best way to make Ivan, I'm just using Ivan as an example. That's the best way to make Ivan Dawkins rich. And that's the best way to make sure you're comfortable, but that's not the best job for you. Corner stores, they make about $3,200 a day. $3,200 a day. You're talking about $95,000 a month. Just imagine $45,000 that goes back into the business. You got $45,000 a month. It's about $250,000. Come on, man. But we don't look at it that way. Hey, man, there's no future in that. Yes, it is, because you can live. You can remodel and upgrade and live off that into perpetuity. You can make your son or your nephew who took a left turn when he's supposed to take a right, your cousin took a left turn, and when they come back to society, you can put them in play right there. These are the things that we have to do. We must realize that these are the things to do. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm in part 2 of a 3-part series on my program tomorrow, but we're not far away from it at all, Ben, to answer your question. We're not far away from it at all. And then Wednesday on the Chief Seats, we're going to talk about it again. We must bring the information to the forefront. See, in my opinion, we get caught up in, you should know this. Years ago, man, me and my late mother took this class. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. You'll be amazed at what you don't know. You don't know. So if you don't, instead of, and I'm gonna talk about this again, instead of just identifying, you should know this. Nah, I should know that. You should teach me that. You should teach. If I'm stupid or if I'm ignorant, you should make sure I'm not ignorant tomorrow.
And now, to this film, this was part history lesson. It broke a lot down. And when he went to go talk to and say what his name was. When to go talk to the guy in the wheelchair, I mean, he basically broke down the reason why we are where we are from the beginning to now. So there was a lot of moments where, like a what did you know, or what did you know, or what don't you know moments in here that I felt like was a good sprinkle in here.
Yeah, man. It's just, it's not difficult. I don't think it's difficult at all, man. It's just we continue to buy into a system that does not want us.
Yeah.
Get the money.
Right.
You do like Doc. Get the money. Like Doc has mentioned to us on several occasions. He started off, I think it was an insurance company, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
He started off in insurance. He worked his way up. Somehow, some way, due to his hard work and his due diligence, he worked his way into the industry he's in now, and now he's a partner. And that's all you have to do. Identify what you're good at and maximize your ability. Some people like myself, loquacious. I love to talk. It's what I do. And we keep getting bits and pieces of the situation. And you got to work hard and get to the top. That's what Orlando Jones kept saying throughout them. You got to work your way to the top. Nah. And this movie showed you, yeah, you do. You know what? If you work like a slave, you eat like a king. Period. But you must have some backing as well. And that's the part that we consistently leave out. I could work my behind off, but if I don't have the help of the forecast, doesn't work with just A-Trap talking about movies. It works because Ivan adds spirituality, Ivan adds stick-to-itiveness, Ivan adds comedy. You keep the ship steady. I add the historical and the radical portion. Wilkes adds comedy and insightfulness. That's why the forecast works. It does not work with just H-Rap talking about what nothing. And that's why the community needs to work. It has to be a cyclical situation. Yeah. And if you don't do it that way, it's not going to work that way. It's not going to work, period. But we continue to be in competition. Like, you know what? I haven't said something smart. I haven't said something about God. So I'm picking up my phone and I'm going to the Bible app. Leviticus, no, it don't work like that. That's what the community. That's what the community does. That's what we do as a community all the time. We hear Ivan say something spiritual. Ivan said, "What was it? You was quoting Trump or fool behind?"
When he said 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, you 2 Corinthians. So now I got to throw out a Bible verse. Then you thought that's what our community continues to do. And if we stop competing, we are literally the old school Clippers versus the old school Sacramento Kings. Well, what are they competing for?
Instead of just staying in your lane.
Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. And if your lane wide, stay in it, man. You know what I mean? If your lane wide, don't swerve. Just stay in it because you're going to get there quicker straight.
And if your hips wide, stay out of my lane.
All right. It's about that time in the show.
Let's do it.
You ready? You ready, Doc?
I'm ready.
Beauty of the week.
All right, beauty of the week this week. There were a few options here. Now, a couple of them didn't have very big roles. So, I generally like to try to pick somebody from a beauty of the week standpoint who you got to see enough of, For instance, the runner-up is Alicia Renee, who played Emma. Do y'all even know who Emma is in this damn thing?
No.
My point, right? But she's a runner-up for sure. Gorgeous young lady. But
Emma was the sister, wasn't she?
Ben?
I think so. I'm looking it up right now. Maybe there was. It wasn't a lot of.
That's my point. Right? But my winner this week for Beauty of the Week is none other than Naturi Naughton, Power. Now again, what was interesting, because as soon as I saw her in this role and saw that she was pregnant, I'm like, she's pregnant in real life during the filming of this. I don't know if she's since had her baby. I think they
Yeah,
have.
she has.
Yeah, but she was pregnant in this, which I thought was interesting. And so therefore, let's see if we can pull up. Go ahead and cycle through some of these pictures, Ben,
Okay. Yes.
while we're talking. So I didn't put any of the pregnant pictures on there because she did look pregnant, you know. So I put some of the old school pictures on there. And when I first come across Naturi is in her role on Power in season 1 when Ghost was giving it to her. And I said, and then of course her role as Lil Kim back in the day when she was younger and thinner, you know. So yeah, she done, you know, she been eating a lot of folic acid to try to get this baby some a lot of prenatal vitamins.
This guy, man. This guy.
But yeah, she's one of those chicks though that really, regardless of whether her weight fluctuates or not, I think she's very pretty naturally, you know. And so I think that is an easy selection for Beauty of the Week this year.
I think her role in this definitely played a part because she was that Bible talks about helpmate, helpmeet. She was that for him. Even when he was slipping, even when he was, you need to take a shower, you in there too much. She grounded him. And, she played the role well. Even having the baby and
she was pro black.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
which
Sure.
again, a lot of people get that twisted and think that means anti something else, and it ain't. You know, pro black is just pro black.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I get the accusation all the time that I'm anti-white.
Yeah.
Nope. What, Sonia?
No, she don't think. Hey, did anybody notice that they
Okay, yeah, she is.
Did anybody get the how many people from Power was in this?
Honestly,
homeboy, her husband is the dude she was creeping with that Ghost killed and put in his trunk.
Who?
Femi?
Lemmy or whatever his name was. Remy.
Her husband, Femi Jackson.
Yeah, her husband is the dude she was.
Yeah, that's right. But you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell because he was.
On his face.
Yeah, because there, I think they may have had him completely bald in that movie.
Yeah, he was completely bald. He traditionally, he either has a goatee, he all the way bald.
Yeah.
But on here, he was looking like.
Now that you mention it, yeah, that's him.
And then
I know a couple of the white cats was bit.
Uncle White guy was running with Ghost at one point.
Yeah.
She said, "Damn, Shoal is."
That older white dude was a cop.
He didn't say it right. Let me say it right. Damn, Shoal is. That's how she want to say it.
He was the attorney on Power.
Yeah, he was the attorney. He was the one who would have got her off if Ghost wouldn't have flipped the script. But then Ghost killed him. KILTED him.
Right. She is a beautiful woman. She has been in the game since Cheetah
Girls. I remember that.
Yeah, she was in a little music group too.
Yeah, Cheetah Girls.
Cheetah Girls.
Okay, is that the name of it?
She was a kid. Okay. Yeah. All right. Congratulations. Round of applause one more time. All right. I know Orlando Jones didn't have a lot of speaking parts, but he's from Mad TV. He's a comedian.
Yeah,
he did a good job in this role. He was believable, like he was really running for office for me.
Yeah, he's gotten older, and I did make a note about that. I said interesting role for Orlando Jones. Hit him with a little Flight of the Bumblebee. Unfortunately, every time I see him, that's what I think. Whenever he was in I don't know if it was called Drumline. Yeah. And
Morris Brown, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was the band director that wanted to keep things, more conservative. So I thought it was an interesting role for Orlando Jones. I think he did, from an acting standpoint, I think he did just as good a job in this acting as anybody did.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that kind of interview portion that they had, which is kind of like a CNN in between the lines type
he
thing.
made that very believable.
Yeah, that was presented very well.
Yeah.
And I like his point of view is the point of view that divides our community. It's the situation to whereas are you gonna you got to work your behind off to get to the top.
Look, says, y'all done or no?
Yeah,
Mike,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
We getting there. We getting there.
I'm with you. I'm ready to put a nail in the coffin of this one.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's do it.
All right, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
Oh no. It's one of those things that I think it splits the community down the line, down the middle. Because quite frankly, most Black people are conservatives, right? It's just what we are. We God-fearing people. We hard-working people. We anti-crime. A lot of us are anti-abortion. You know, we walk that line. But again, as that reporter did, like that's why I say it was a lot of sublims. There was a lot of information hand mixed into you, so you either grabbed it or it went over your head. And they would just. I didn't look into it, but I bet you the dude who wrote this film or directed this film is a brother or a sister, because it was a lot of stuff in this film that put the community at odds. And you know, Orlando was saying, "Work your behind off, and you'll get there." And they were showing you, homeboy made one mistake. He was working his behind off. He's not getting there. On the other hand, you got the white boy in Stanford who was caught raping someone, and the judge said, "Hey, you on mute, Ben? Hey,
first time, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah." He said, "Hey, I'm not gonna put him in jail because it'll ruin his life."
Yeah, yeah.
You raped somebody, bro. You ruined your life.
Yeah, I used to. I'm gonna kind of give an illustration of what's happening to our community, what has happened to our community over several years now, decades, right? I used to coach football, select football, and I was coaching a 6th grade team, and we were playing against a team out of the South Dallas, and I knew my team was out of Garland, and I knew we didn't have the kind of speed that they had. I knew it. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to compensate for this speed that they have, right? So when we were on offense, I knew I can't just try to beat them to the edge. You know, my guys ain't gonna make it. So what I did is I was hitting them with them counter trays all day long, and they coaches was going nuts over there. So what I was doing is showing flow this direction, and the running back was going back the opposite direction, and they was eating their linebackers up every time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening to our community. We're being shown flow in this direction, right. And it's the end around. By the time they even fooling the camera. You know how when you're watching a football game or something, the camera even doesn't follow the juke with a quarterback. You know, like God, dog, Brett Favre fooled the camera on y'all ass. His fake was so good, but the running back is all he almost to the end zone. Right. That's what's happening to our community. They showing our eyes and ears a bunch of hey. And they doing, they come
in your pocket.
They come.
And there's a Bible verse that says, speak to us smooth things, speak to us those things that tingle our ears, but that's not what we need to hear. Yeah. All right, let's round it out. Let's get to final thoughts and mic rating. Is that your mic rating, Wilkes? 1 or? All right, we're gonna go to H-Rap first. Final thoughts.
I give it a 3. Quality of production took away from a lot of it. If it had a larger budget or a well spent budget, I would have given it a 4. But I say it's 3. I'll say it's a 3. I enjoyed the film because this is what I do. You know, this is my wheelhouse. But otherwise,
that's respect. You know, because for somebody because this really is his wheelhouse and his topic and his subject, and for him to give it a 3, I think that's a very fair rating. I think that that took any biases out of it that you may have had because of the subject matter. That's respect for me, brother.
Yeah.
Respect for me.
All right, Doc.
Uh, I like to try to tell what some of the outside sources rated this
No.
before I give mine, right? So IMDb 4.9 out of 10. That's right in the middle, just like your 3 years, right? Rotten Tomatoes, 48%. Google, 59%. So it's like everybody's right in that messy middle, so to speak, right?
Right.
I'm right there too. I gave it 3 mics because I thought this is again, you could do so much with this plot. It's a fat,
Oh, yeah.
juicy plot,
Yeah.
but maybe they didn't have the money, or maybe they didn't have the director, or maybe they didn't have the desire to do more with it. I think they kind of just you know put together a cast. Some were decent, some weren't. So I think it called for a 3. I think that's a good rating for it. It's not a disrespectful rating, but it just kind of it illustrates their shortcomings, but also their strengths as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I give it a 3 as well. And then, we forgot to ask HRAP. Did you start at a 3 and stay at a 3?
Oh
Or
yeah.
did you start somewhere else? Okay.
Oh yeah. It
That's
was.
that's where I was.
This is one of those movies. This is one of those movies for me because I like watching stuff like this. I will watch this movie again and again and again, not because this is the greatest movie in the world.
To get something you missed out of.
I know I'm gonna miss something. It's you'll learn something new every time you watch this.
Yeah, they said a couple of things in here that I thought was deep too, which helped my rating. They talked about the soul of the country, and I thought that was a big statement. And then they said something else too that I thought was huge, and this was toward the end where they said an idea is the most resilient parasite. So think about what a parasite is, right? And what it's designed to do. Sometimes, whether it be Russia, whether it be Republicans, whether it be Democrats, whether it be white supremacists, whether it be Black Lives Matter, whether it be whoever. Sometimes, if I just put this idea in your head,
Right.
it's gonna keep you busy so long debating that idea. That's gonna eat alive at you. When that's not even what's the most important aspect of this thing anyway. So I thought those were some powerful quotes, and I thought that was the best quote of the movie when it said an idea is the most resilient parasite.
Yeah. And Wilk says migrating 3 and just lots of current events for me. Yeah. I think to give mines, I think it really had some good moments in it. I don't think it had enough as far as the presentation, which we all pretty much have been saying. The main character, Femi, I think if they had somebody else, to me, it just would have been more believable. Sometimes you gotta have sometimes certain moments, you gotta have some umph. Like when he's trying to get away out of that building, he's like not even speed walking. Like if you got a phone call like that, when you'd be running out of that building. So I mean, I think there was just moments where he could have played that role better. I think Orlando Jones did a great job. No, he didn't have a lot of speaking parts, but I think he showing kind of some of his range. And this director, which is Iramos,
huh?
I think it's Iramos.
I had director as being Thomas Akimi.
Nah, I think it's no, that was the producer. Excuse me. So yeah, you're right. It says director, writer. So basically, this she is Nigerian, he or she. I can't see who it is, female or male, but childhood in Nigeria and England, and this is her fourth.
Good night, mate.
So I think.
Oh God, he's horrible. That was a horrible accent.
I think there was some young director, young producer in this. I don't think they've had a lot under their belt. So I think they for their early on, I think they did a good job.
It's like Infinity Productions did this big.
But you know what? I see this different now because it did give me a foreign film kind of vibe. And if she's a native Nigerian and she's from Nigeria, she was guessing on American culture. She was giving it from the perspective of that. So maybe
there you go.
Maybe I'll go. I'm gonna leave it there, but maybe knowing that I would have given it a 3.5 because it's like if we did a movie about Nigeria.
So his name is Thomas,
Yeah.
but I guess his director name is Eramos, but his name is Thomas Sakimi. So yeah, it was him.
So what did you give it, Ben?
I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it's right down the middle, not a 2.5. I think that would be insult. I think they had some, like I said, some good moments. I did have to watch it in pieces as well, not by choice, but just because I was busy this week. So and the 2 hours was too long. You could have definitely chopped some stuff up.
If they would have made his wife look like this, all it is,
Could have bumped it.
I'd have given him a 4.
Wow.
Oh, look, that would have helped. She wasn't in it long. She wasn't in it enough scenes to change it. Right.
But they did a great job of dressing her up with the kente cloth. Because you didn't really see how pregnant she was.
Yeah.
Probably told.
Well, even after she had the baby, she hadn't had the baby in real life when she had the baby in the film. So, they kind of hid that well in the bed and stuff like that.
Oh, and the last thing I'll mention, when he went to go visit the guy in the chair, and he was like, "Yeah, I ended up falling in love," and then he kind of looked over his shoulder, like, "Oh, like so you got a jungle fever going on up in here." It's kind of the vibe, but
DJ Quick got a song about that. I ain't gonna say the name of it.
Had to looking up on researching on your own time.
It's on the first album. I think it's song number 8. First album, DJ Quick.
The album and the song. You heard it a couple times.
I would expect nothing less from Ace, right?
I think it's song number 8. Let me look it up before we go. DJ Quick. I think it is song number 8, if I'm not mistaken. I used to play it all the time.
So coming up next week, we will be doing Deuces, recommended by Blue Streak, Red Streak, North Harbor. So we will be doing that next week. I will not be here next week though. So Doc, you available to
Yeah, it looks like, based on what you've seen today, no lag and stuff like that. So yeah, I should be able to pull that off.
Okay, cool.
Where you all right, man? You can share that with the classroom.
Hold on, I hit the wrong link. 1 second, I'm gonna tell you. If it's number 8.
Ben, you say you're gonna be out. Where you gonna be at?
Nah, it's just
share that with the classroom.
I ain't going nowhere. It's just we got a feast day at church, so I'm gonna be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Deuces with what's his name in it? Lorenz Tate.
Yeah, Lorenz Tate. It's Lorenz Tate and
Megan Good.
Yeah.
Oh, Lala Anthony. Yeah. That's the former Beauty of the Week.
Now this is a 2016 film. Lance Cross.
Here we go again. Rotimi is in there. This is another power guy.
Power Part 3. Part 5, actually.
Okay.
All right. Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence. No, Blue Streak, the Theodora Harper, who was in the chat. That is Blue Streak. That's her nickname.
Yeah.
All right. You already kind of shared a little bit, but anything else you want to add into the bench tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Into the Bench is part 2 of a 3-part series. The first one was, I introduced it to the world as, did we sacrifice our freedom for integration? Tomorrow, I will be covering culture, education, culture, and community. And I'll be talking about how, what I think we need to do to reinstitute education, basically reestablish education and then inculcate culture into that. And then this will reestablish our community. I talk about things like the church. A lot of people stay away from the church, but there's a reason. Doc kind of touched on it. He didn't touch on the church, but he touched on how you put so much information out there. You put a ton of information out there, and it skews the point of view of everybody, of the general populace.
The confused mind does nothing.
Exactly. And then we talk about education. And when we speak about education, we speak simply about education. We think is in that schoolhouse. And that's not where education starts. Well, my oldest sister, Blue Streak, and my sister Phyllis taught me how to read. When I got into kindergarten, I could read. And the reason I could read is because my sisters are much older than me. And my middle sister Phyllis had a pen pal. And she got tired of reading her pen pal letters to me. So she taught me how to read. She said, look, you read it.
Read your own letters.
I'm sick of reading this to you. So she taught me how to read. So these are the things. I'm not telling you to teach your children how to read, but there are certain things that we should be armed with as we walk into an institution. So yeah, we create the foundation.
And to correct you, we do need to teach our kids how to read.
No, I mean,
he's just saying he was just saying he wasn't making that as his main point. He's not busting at you to say it may be true, but that's not what he was. That's not
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right, Ben, and thank you for the correction. We do need to teach our kids how to read, but we should arm our children with things like you think history. No, we need to be arming our children with family history. Family history will allow your children to create, as Doc stated, a foundation of pride. And then once you know who, let's just say you are my dad, Doc is my big brother. I need to know what your dad did. And I'm going to talk about this binder that I'm going to mention tomorrow, about this binder that I want everybody in the history of our community to do, and every member of that family, especially if you have a newborn. If you have a child from 6 and younger, we need to start doing this. So tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m., and I'm going to talk about that binder and, church, community education, because the episode is called Education plus community. Education plus culture equals community. That's what the episode is called. So I'm going to cover those 3 things, and then I'm gonna do a 4th part next week, and it's gonna be entertainment and sports and entertainment. And
you can talk on that for days, right there.
Yeah, you know me, I'm gonna get that one. Yeah. So and then shameless plug. Wednesday is the first episode of the Chief Seats with me and Mo, and then I will be a guest on Wrap It Up Sports Thursday.
Okay. Cool. All right, real quick, Doc.
Tomorrow, Queen 3 and King, Black marriage, Black divorce. Why do we divorce at a higher rate than any other ethnicity? What's the largest factor in divorce? Are children more likely to divorce if they experience divorce themselves? How does occupation affect your divorce? How does religion affect your divorce? How does age impact marriage and divorce? So it ought to be a good topic. We got special guest host Gary, the philosopher Freeman, to be on, and he always drops some nuggets and whatnot. So tune in tomorrow, 7:00, right here on BS3 Network, Roku, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be there. You don't want to miss it. We generally will take a serious topic and we'll do it with a lot of humor. And generally, a lot of people give us feedback like, wow, that helped me pay attention. So we are discussing this topic, not trying to encourage divorce, but trying to encourage.
Here. Okay.
Ooh, great sentiment.
With this comment, if I plant the ideal of existence, you'll then believe in existence.
Yeah, the earth is flat.
It is.
I know it.
As you walk
that
on
wasn't no joke. Being land. That wasn't no joke.
These ain't jokes. All right, go ahead.
Y'all already know it's the middle of the month. And I always say, dream your dream. I salute Reggie O'Shea, aka Combat Jack, back saying, dream your dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor and surround sound. And I already know it's the 15th of the month, so I'm starting to save up for rent next month. So if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God. God.
Him upstairs.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.